It's so weird to be back on YouTube. Hi, I'm Lauren, and so much has happened in the past few years. I feel like I'm at a place where I have a lot to share. Hiking, adventure, travel, international travel, long-term international travel, affordable travel, and lots of other random things along the way. I'm actually house sitting right now, and I'm in England. I'm American, but my home base right now is in Switzerland, and so I'm going basically back and forth between the Schengen region. To realize that it's possible for me, I just think it's possible for anybody. I was really nervous about it and very intimidated by it, and just didn't think that it was financially possible, didn't think that I would be able to handle it, especially doing solo. I want to share all the ways that you can do that too, and to make it easier to transition into these new experiences, cultural differences and tips and all sorts of stuff. I guess I'll start from the beginning with a little bit of background. So I grew up in Florida and I escaped. I spent a winter in Wisconsin, and then I lived for a little while in Seattle, a little while in San Francisco, and then ended up in Asheville, North Carolina, which is like a little progressive, artsy bubble in the South. It was the most I've ever felt that I fit into a place. I had gone to Thailand for 2 months, and I traveled there solo, but I knew somebody that was there, so I was like staying with somebody that was there, which really helped, because that was like a big culture shock situation. Like, it's just a different world. It feels so different. The language is different. How things operate are different. So that was amazing. It really opened my eyes, and it gave me that first glimpse into, I think I could actually do some traveling. And I had also gone to Ireland for like a week, and I think like one day in Scotland when I was there. I went with my friend for a modeling opportunity, and it was just amazing. And my dogs died, and I ended up getting an opportunity to go live in my sister's place in Seattle. I was really burned out. I had just been working all the time and just like being on my own all the time. The survival mode, the things that kind of saved me psychologically were like the physical pursuits, the pole dancing, the Muay Thai, all the fitness stuff. I just knew I needed something different. I needed a break. I needed to take the pressure off. So I went up to Seattle, and the road trip alone, my friend went with me. Thank you, Alex. Made it like a 10-day road trip to Seattle across the US from North Carolina. We went through like Colorado and Utah, and I made it a 10-day road trip because I was like, I want to stop and hike and enjoy all these awesome places along the way. So he was totally down for it. And we just laughed so much. So by the time I got to Seattle, I was just like, I need to like change everything. So I ended up doing some hikes with my sister-in-law, and then I just was like, I want to hike more often. And so I started solo hiking, and that was a huge thing that gave me a lot of confidence. I made sort of a deal with myself that I would go to a different place each time. And then I met someone, and we started hiking together some of the time, and that was awesome too. And that definitely pushed me. There was one particular time where I was like, I would 100% not do this by myself. I learned so much about snow hiking, and I still have a lot to learn, but that was really empowering too. And took a trip to Olympic National Forest and went up to Mount Rainier a couple times. Really tried to explore the area, and there's actually still a lot that I haven't explored that I want to, like, if I do go back to the US, I want to go back to Washington and hike some more. At one point I was like, I can't stay here forever. I'm just in my sister's house. And I was like pet sitting for her and doing other things in exchange. And so it wasn't just like I was like mooching off of her, but I knew it like wasn't going to last forever. I didn't want it to last forever. I need to like shift my life, you know? And so I was like, I want to travel. Like I had made it so that I was working part-time. I have a remote bookkeeping job, and I was able to do it anywhere. And I was like, I think I want to travel. And on one of those hikes, I met somebody like up at the top, and it was just a nice lady, and we were taking each other's pictures, and we were talking about like what we do. And she's like, oh, I just heard recently about this thing called Trusted House Sitters. I also had wanted to do woofing because my real dream is to have my own property homestead situation, growing most of my own food, having some animals. And I had known about woofing for a while, WWOOF. It stands for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. And it's an exchange where you go and you work like 25 hours a week on a farm. They provide your room and food. So I was like, I want to do woofing and I want to do house sitting, and I want to use that as my way to like explore the world. And I knew I wanted to travel internationally. I knew that would be like beyond my comfort zone. I didn't even know where I wanted to live. I wasn't attached to like a person or a job in any physical place. And so I was like, I just need to get to know myself better. I want to know what's out there. The world is huge. There's so much beauty. And yeah, I just needed to go. So I made a plan and I did 2 weeks of woofing on a farm in Washington. And I had done like a couple of house sitting things in Washington nearby, like local stuff, just to get a taste for it, to be like, okay, I need to get some reviews. And then I ended up planning like this 30-day road trip because I wanted to go back to Utah. It's silly for me to drive all the way to like Bryce Canyon, do the snow thing, and then drive all the way back. Like I hate driving through Idaho. I'm like, why wouldn't I just come down and like circle up and make a whole thing of it? So I did. So I got snowshoes and I got all my gear. I did this 30-day road trip using house sitting as a way to have a place to stay. And so the house sitting, I'll go into it in another video with details, but like basically you have your house sitting for them in exchange for a place to stay. So it's a trade. There's no payments, and it usually involves pets. So you're pet sitting, house sitting for them. You stay in their house while they're gone, and they have somebody to take care of their pets in their house. So it works out great. It's an amazing system. I had planned to do another woof situation in January, starting in January, and the minimum was 3 months because it was like a lot of training and it was on horse farms. So I rode horses off and on when I was a kid, and horses are like my heart, like my favorite, by far my favorite animal. And I wanted to be around horses again. I hadn't been around horses in years and years. And I just was like, this is so dumb for me to not have this in my life. I wonder if I could like find a farm that had horses on it if I'm going to be doing this anyway. There's lots of horses in the world. And so I found this farm in Oregon. There was a family thing that was going to be happening in Italy in May, like a couple months after, or a month after I was going to be done with the horse farm. So I was like, I'll just do this horse farm thing and then I'll just leave. Like I'll just go abroad and that'll be the beginning of my like long-term international travel. I was like, I'm going to give myself 2 years at least to just go explore. And you can do the house sitting and the woofing or Workaway or World Packers or whatever. Like I found all these other websites that are like the volunteer trade-based things. And yeah, so that was my plan. And then I met someone on the farm. That's the reason I'm in Switzerland, because he is Swiss. I don't have a long-term visa for Switzerland because you either have to do marriage, student, or work visa. So I have to leave and come back. So that's why I'm in England. And I've been house sitting in England, and then I live with my boyfriend in Switzerland. So that's the story.